Hi, this is Stephen Bolgiano with Fairs Management Interactive, and today in Lesson 5 we're going to talk about managing our files and saving them and a few little extra tricks that go along with that. We're going to use an example of this floor plan. If we look up in the upper left hand corner, we'll see that Bill Black has signed in and is the active user right now. Bill has made a floor plan layout and he wants to save it. So the first thing he does is go to the upper right hand corner to Files, and then over on the left is the menu. The first thing he should do is to save it in his personal folder. This is the best place to back it up. So he's going to click Save. Now he doesn't have any floor plans in there yet, so this will be the first save. But what I suggest you do in terms of naming is that you put in the year, the month, the day, an underscore, and then the hall or the area that the plan is going to go in, and then something about the event or show to indicate what it is. Now, what this does is it helps you go back later on and keep the backups that you do in an incremental order. It also lets you know which drop down you should be using. And the drop down, of course, we've reviewed this, but it's on the right. And so it would let you know to open up the Stockman's first and then drop in this plan. So I hit OK, and now it's saved. I'm going to go ahead and delete this plan. Now it doesn't delete it in the personal folder, just on the screen. And I'm going to go back in. I'm going to click on Load. And we can see that it's up there now. So I click on the file and I hit OK. And now we see that it's going to load. One of the things we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to save it to the master file. Now the master plan save differs from the personal folder in a couple different ways. Number one, it doesn't do a save as. It automatically associates that master file with the drop down area that you have up on screen. It also saves a more complex data set of exhibitor lists that can be cross-referenced and booth inventories in terms of sizes. So now if we'll go over and click on Save for Master Plan, and we want to save that. Now the master plan is a running plan, so there may be from the previous session a plan already in there. So now the master plan is saved. We're going to go ahead and delete that plan again. And now we're going to load the master plan. Now, one of the things we'll notice when we start working on these floor plans is that I'm going to go ahead and do a real quick edit on this. We're going to go and delete these booths here. And I'm going to make this a 20 by 20. And we're going to hit OK. Now you'll notice what happens is there's a red mark that appears on our edits. So now when I go back to File and I save this master plan, and then I go back and load the master plan again, you'll see the red mark isn't there. So that only occurs during your session, and what it lets you know is what booths have you edited and changed during that session. So if you have a list of tasks that you need to complete for that layout, it'll let you match them up before you close your session. Now if we go back to our personal folder and we load that personal folder back up, we'll see that's the version without the edit. An interesting feature is that you can trade files back and forth between other coordinators. And what's even better is that one of your coordinators can create a file, say a food service setup, and you can go and pick that up from their folder and you can combine it with layouts layouts that you already have. Now the advantage to this is if you have a bar set up or a dining area or something that you're going to repeat in that hall over and over again, no matter what kind of layout you have, you don't have to redraw it each time. You can keep it in your library, or one of your food service specialists can draw it up and you can go get it and drop it into your exhibit specialties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the user to Judy Jones. Now, if you notice in the upper left-hand corner, the person that is now active in this layout is Judy Jones. And so when we go and we're going to go ahead and delete the floor plan that's right on screen right now. We've already got it backed up in two places, the master and our personal folder. And we're going to go into Judy's folder and we're going to hit load. Now, we're going to click on this food service layout that she has, and we're going to hit OK. What Judy's done here is just create a little cafe setup. So the point being is that we can make small layouts that we want to use over and over again in various show floors, and we don't have to redraw it every time. We can save a bar or a dance floor or a podium setup or anything we want and then drop it in, and I'll show you how that's done. So we've just borrowed this from Judy, and now what we're going to do is we're going to change user folder again back to Bill, who is at the workstation right now. And now I'm going to save Judy's table layouts in my, Bill's, folder. So now I've saved it. I'm going to delete the plan. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the master plan for this hall. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about putting a food service in. So if we look at the bottom left-hand corner to the checkbox that's staged, and staged means that we can combine two different floor plans. In this case, we're combining the smaller table setup with the larger floor plan. So now I'm going to do that load, and just so you know, when you load a pod, and we've discussed pods in previous lessons, it will always load up either to just the right of an active pod, which we see right here, this little triangle with the highlighted triangle inside says it's active. If there's no pods on the floor plan, then it will load it up in this upper left-hand corner. So be careful if you're really zoomed in somewhere and you think you've loaded a table setup or some other pod and you can't find it. It usually means it's right up here in the upper left-hand corner and you've got to zoom back a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our personal folder. We're going to hit food service and we're going to hit OK. So now we've got that over there, and we're going to go back into our booth layout or booth controls, and we're going to start deleting enough space for our food service. Now we'll start it over here. Now we'll see what kind of room we really need. And there you go. Now, what we want to do again is to save this in our personal folder. And typically what I do is, when I save it, I'll highlight this one I just saved. But if I'm doing multiple versions of the same floor plan in the same session, I will go ahead and make that a capital B just so I know that it's a second version, and I hit OK. Alright, so now we've done this. Now, let's just say that we want to assign Judy to do some other work for us. Maybe to either do some exhibitor sales, or we liked her work so much with the food service we want her to create another one. So we're going to assign her that job. So what do? We go ahead and we log in as Judy. And we go to her personal folder, and we're going to save this layout for her. We're going to drop it into her folder. So we're going to go ahead and do 2016. We're going to do 03, and we're going to do 15. Now, the way Fairs MI works, we don't use spaces, so you use underscores. Now, in this case, we're going to put Black for Bill Black, so she knows this is the floor plan she received from Bill. And then we're going to put Stockman, and we can shorten it. You can do whatever you want, just so it gives you a hint. And then we're going to go ahead and say food service. It's a long name, but you'll be able to recognize these things very quickly when you go back and get a lot of versions. So here we go. So we're going to save it there. We're going to check on load just to make sure that it's up there. And sure enough, it is. Now, the one thing we want to make sure we do is we want to uncheck the staged. That's something that's very easy to forget to do, and you end up combining plans when you don't want to. And we also want to make sure that we change back to our own seat, which would be Bill Black. So in this way, a lead user can manage the floor plans and the master plans, and the assistant coordinators can work on specific things. And we can set up the user permissions so that the assistant coordinators cannot save a master plan. And this is typically what we do. And this allows the lead user to be the sole manager of those final plans, but it allows everyone to have backups and to be able to try various versions of different layouts. Okay, so the final step with our file management is to do two things. One is to go back into our personal folder, make sure we've saved everything that we want to save, check our file names, and then the last thing is to go up to the upper right hand corner and use the logout button. Now, the logout button is part of our programming that essentially lines up all the data information very neatly, so it helps speed up your program. If you don't use the logout button enough times, you may get a small error message that the program needs to have its data organized, and so what you'll want to do for sure the next time is use that logout button. So thanks a lot. Really appreciate you tuning in to our lessons. And please write or call, and if there's something you want to learn and you'd like to see it on a video, just let us know. Thanks again from Fairs Management Interactive.